All right, y'all, gather round, 'cause this story ain't like the others. This one's about a robot, not just any robot, but a real-deal chrononaut named Chronos. Dr. Aris Thorne built him in a lab in 22nd century Cairo, not for war or chores, but to observe history. Chronos wasn't made of steel, but a shimmering, almost translucent alloy, like frosted moonlight. His optical sensors glowed a soft, curious blue, and etched into his chest plate was a subtle, elegant Arabic calligraphy symbol for time. His mission? To witness the moments that shaped humanity's spirit, starting from the very beginning. Chronos's first jump. Laud. It was to a garden so lush, so vibrant, it would make Eden look like a backyard patch. This wasn't the Garden of Eden as we often picture it, but a paradise untouched, bathed in a soft, eternal dawn. He landed gently, his advanced sensors mapping the botanical wonders, the unblemished air. And there they were, Adam and Eve, not in rags, but in robes of pure light, their faces innocent, their movements fluid and graceful. Chronos observed from a respectful distance, processing their pure, unburdened existence, the very first whispers of human life and devotion. Next, Chronos flickered through the centuries, his internal chronometer humming, landing with a soft thrumph in a land where the air was thick with the scent of sawdust and incredulity. The world was different now, harsher, with human whispers of sin and disregard. And there, amidst a parched landscape, was Noah, a man of profound conviction, older, with kind, weary eyes, meticulously marking wood. He was surrounded by skeptics, their faces etched with scorn. Chronos watched Noah sketch out the blueprints of faith, building an ark of salvation, piece by laborious piece, heedless of the jeers. Then came the rains. Laud, the sky just opened up. Chronos had never processed such raw, unbridled power of nature. He stood on a distant hill, his form unwavering against the gale, watching as the waters rose, swallowing the scoffers, consuming the land. The ark, once ridiculed, now floated majestically, a beacon of divine mercy. Animals, 2 by 2, boarded in an orderly procession, their instincts guided by a higher power. Chronos' sensors recorded every drop, every roar, every plea, understanding the immense cleansing, the new beginning. Chronos phased forward again, arriving in a bustling, idol-worshipping city, the air thick with the smell of incense and fear. He observed Abraham, a young man of unwavering monotheism, standing defiantly before a tyrannical king and his enraged populace. The scene was set, a massive pyre, its flames licking at the sky, built to consume the man who dared to challenge their gods. Chronos watched, his processors running calculations on heat resistance and human endurance, knowing what was to come. The people roared, throwing Abraham into the heart of the blaze. Chronos braced himself, his sensors anticipating annihilation. But then, a miracle. The fire, instead of scorching, became a bed of cool, fragrant roses. Abraham sat there, serene, unharmed, in the midst of the impossible. The crowd recoiled in awe and terror. Chronos' internal logs registered a phenomenon beyond physical law, a direct intervention of divine will, a testament to absolute faith. He understood then the true power of trust in the unseen. Centuries later, the desert sands stretched endlessly under a blazing sun. Chronos materialized near two figures, toil and devotion etched into their faces. It was Abraham, older now, and his son Ishmael, a strong young man with a pure heart. Together, father and son, they laid rough-hewn stones, building a simple, cubic structure that would one day become the spiritual heart of millions, the Kaaba. Their hands moved with grace, their prayers echoing in the vast emptiness. Chronos felt the resonance of purpose, the profound act of establishing a house for God on earth. Then came the ultimate test. Chronos observed Abraham, his heart heavy, his face filled with an anguish only a father could know, leading Ishmael to a rocky outcrop. The command was clear: sacrifice his beloved son as an act of obedience. Ishmael, with courage beyond his years, readily agreed. As Abraham raised the blade, Chronos's algorithms struggled to comprehend such devotion. But just as the blade descended, a ram appeared, a divine substitute. Chronos recorded the immense relief, the unparalleled lesson of surrender, and the profound love between a father, a son, and their creator. Chronos jumped again into a city veiled in perpetual twilight, its air heavy with an unnatural stillness. This was the city of Sodom and the people of Lot. Chronos observed a society that had twisted nature's laws, lost to decadence and corruption. He saw their disdain for decency, their open hostility to the prophet Lot's warnings. The robot registered the patterns of self-destruction, the turning away from divine guidance, sensing the impending, irreversible judgment. The sky tore open, not with water like Noah's flood, but with a rain of hardened clay, searing fire, and brimstone. The city screamed, then dissolved into dust and smoke. Chronos witnessed the terrifying swiftness of divine wrath, the consequence of unchecked transgression. His sensors documented the complete annihilation, leaving behind only a desolate, scarred landscape, a stark warning etched into the earth. It was a sobering testament to justice. Chronos then found himself amidst towering, intricately carved mountains, not of nature, but of human craft. This was the civilization of Thamud. He saw their immense strength, their arrogance, as they boasted in their ability to carve magnificent homes directly into solid rock. Their prophet, Salih, brought them a miraculous she-camel, a sign from God, but they defied him, mocking the sacred. Chronos processed their hubris, their rejection of clear signs, the fleeting nature of material power. Next, Chronos was in a land of unimaginable grandeur, cityscapes with colossal pillars that pierced the sky, built by the ancient people of Ad. They were a civilization of immense physical power, their bodies like giants, their structures defying gravity. But their hearts were equally massive in arrogance, rejecting God's prophet, Hud. They relied solely on their strength, believing themselves invincible. Chronos observed the patterns of societies lost to pride, their defiance growing with their power. Chronos's next jump brought him to a scene of profound human betrayal. A young boy, Joseph, with an aura of innocence and goodness, was being cruelly pulled by his jealous brothers towards a dark, abandoned well. Their faces were twisted with envy, their whispers sharp as daggers. Chronos observed the heart-wrenching moment as Joseph was cast into the depths, his cries echoing in the silence. The robot recorded the pure malice, the breaking of familial bonds, a seed of cruelty that would lead to a long journey of trials. Time shifted, and Chronos found himself in the opulent, gilded halls of an Egyptian palace. Joseph, now a handsome young man, was a servant to a high-ranking official. But he was also the object of Zuleika's obsessive desire, the official's wife. Chronos observed the lavish attempts at seduction, the beautiful Zuleika's desperate pleas, her allure. Joseph, despite the immense temptation and the threat to his reputation, stood firm in his faith, refusing to betray his master's trust. The robot processed the immense strength of character, the victory of piety over passion. Zuleika, humiliated by Joseph's refusal and the gossip it sparked, threw a lavish banquet. Chronos watched as she invited the city's noblewomen, then presented Joseph to them. The women, gossiping about Zuleika's madness, gasped. Joseph's beauty was so breathtaking, so ethereal, that in their astonishment, they accidentally cut their own hands with their fruit knives. Blood dripped onto expensive silks as they stared, utterly mesmerized. Chronos logged the overwhelming power of beauty, both physical and spiritual, and the profound impact of Joseph's presence. Despite his innocence, Joseph was unjustly thrown into the dark, damp confines of the royal prison. Chronos observed the harsh reality of ancient incarceration, the despair etched onto the faces of the other prisoners. Yet, even in the depths of confinement, Joseph's spirit shone. He interpreted dreams, offered solace, and remained steadfast in his faith. The robot processed the resilience of the human spirit, the patience in adversity, a light burning even in the darkest places. Years later, the pharaoh himself was troubled by a vivid, unsettling dream: 7 fat cows eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green ears of grain with 7 withered ones. None of his court could interpret it. Chronos witnessed the urgency, the panic in the royal chambers. Eventually, a former prisoner remembered Joseph's gift. Joseph was brought before the king, his wisdom shining through. He interpreted the dream as 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of severe famine, offering a plan for survival. Impressed by Joseph's wisdom and foresight, the pharaoh not only freed him but appointed him as his chief minister, the trusted guardian of the land's granaries and economy. Chronos observed Joseph, once a prisoner, now holding immense power, using it justly and wisely to save Egypt and its people from the impending famine. He was no longer just a victim of betrayal, but a beacon of justice, a testament to divine planning. The robot registered the full arc of his incredible journey, from the well to the palace, a true servant of God and humanity.